labor market. May I ask you, Mrs. Omila, what motivates you for your engagement, please?
Thanks so much, Anita, for the question. And just to say, I can see everyone coming in and settling in. First of all, just to thanks very much for inviting me and all of us to this really important conversation. For me, it's wonderful to be in Bangladesh again. I've been many times over the last 30 years, I guess, so it feels like another home to me. And on a theme which I feel very passionately about, the empowerment of adolescent girls and skills and opportunities, and the HERizon Fest. I love the theme. When it comes to motivation, to your question, Anita, so I am a Canadian of Bengali origin. My father was born in Kushtia, and my mother from Calcutta. And so from a young age, when I would visit my extended family in Calcutta, I couldn't understand why there were other girls like me who just didn't have the same chances as me. They looked like me, but they weren't able to get an education or have a roof even over their heads or enough to eat, and really left to fend for themselves on the streets. So from a young age, and this is about 6 or 7 years of age, I felt this kind of sense of injustice. And I just simply wanted to see a world where all girls had the same types of opportunities and choices that I've been privileged to have. So that kind of formed the motivation in my formative years. And then later, in university and through my student leadership in Canada and then around the world, whether it's on issues of child rights or sustainable development, I could see firsthand how all young people, because we talked a lot about how young people and young women will be the future of the labor force, that if they're given a chance to develop their skills, get a decent job, or even contribute to their communities, their potential is really unlimited. So it comes from this personal experience, but also professional experience over the last, I guess, 25 years in different, I've lived in Geneva, Bangkok, Delhi, Kathmandu, now New York, with a lot of time spent in this region. And I see how fundamental education is to building skills and how it really improves other outcomes in health, in nutrition, in the environment and beyond. And if you can have a young woman who's educated and skilled and connected to livelihoods, then this impact multiplies across their families, communities, and societies. And that's how come I'm here today from Generation Unlimited, which is all about this. Since its launch in 2019, we are in over 100 countries, anchored in UNICEF, and benefiting over 400 million young women and men around the world with these opportunities. If I have just a minute left, Anita, if that's okay, just to say, I wanted to share one story.
Please.
Just to say that beyond these numbers, I also wanted to share stories, because you hear millions here, many women impacted, many women benefiting, but I think it's always important to look at the face of what it means for a young woman. So last March, I had the incredible fortune of being in Bangladesh again, so this is twice in 1 year. And I met someone named Fatima from Cox's Bazar. I'm sure that some of you are here from Cox's Bazar in the room. And she's a determined 20-year-old. And her father sadly passed away, so because of that, she had to leave school to take care of work at home. And that was kind of the expectation of her role in the family. And then to get married. So she joined our Girls Education Skills Partnership Program, which actually many of the agencies here around the room are part of. And after completing her training, she secured a job in a hotel restaurant, and she supports her family with dignity. And she hopes to even run a 5-star hotel herself. And just to say in her own words, when I spoke to her, she said, "I don't care who sees me in a good or bad way. This is my job. I want to work honestly, earn a living, support my family, and maybe one day I'll even own a 5-star hotel myself." I was so impressed by that, and I think it reflects the reality of so many women, that they can turn even the toughest challenges into the brightest futures, not only for themselves, but for their communities. So finally, just to say, having witnessed this kind of hope throughout my journey, I carry with me this deep conviction that when women rise, then we all rise. And so that's the kind of truth that inspires me and has been part of my whole life and will take me forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amila, for sharing your motivation. That is so kind. Dr. Anuj, may I ask you, we are very interested to hear how are women in your country, in Nepal, empowered to access employment through skill development? Kindly share.
Thank you very much for this question. In Nepal, empowering women through skill development has become the national priority, especially to bridge the gender gap in employment. Nepal government, through its regular sources and in collaboration with private sector employers and development partners, has launched several initiatives that equip women with market responsive courses. Though the female labor force participation is low, around 27% in recent year, the focus on skill development is laying a strong foundation for long-term inclusive economic growth. The major things that we do at policy level, quota and positive discrimination, some additional skills so that women, marginalized group and those often left behind can enter into the job market. And at implementation level, training at community level, we do not ask participants or the trainee female participants to come to the training center, better to move the training itself in their own community, and priority given to accommodation facility, and so flexible training schedule. These are the things we do at implementation level to support, to encourage women to enter into job market through skill development activity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anuj, for sharing this best practice, I may even say. Thank you. Our next question goes to two panelists, Mr. Robin and Mr. Seromu. I ask you, from your perspective, please, what helps women succeed and build skills, even if they start without privilege? So, would you like to start, Mr. Seromu?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita, for this question. And what helps women to succeed in technical vocational education and training in VET? One, the interest. You must have the interest to acquire these vocational skills. And another thing to consider is the training facilities. If the training facilities is good for women, is fit for women, is a place where women can study. Then another key factors that you need to understand for women to succeed in acquiring vocational skills is the access to training. And another one is the cost of training, the funding mechanism, who funds the project. And over time, it is better for women to have a free VET training program. When the program is free, it attracts women to be part of that program. And then the training facilities need to be child care friendly, because some of these women, some are single mothers, and then they have kids and they need to come for that training to be able to fit into the society. So you need to consider the training facility, that's the care facilities for those children, for their mother to be able to participate in such program. And another thing to look is job placement. After the training, what next? So if you are designing a particular VET program, you need to think of, after training, what will the women do? Where will they work? So in some cases, if there's no job placement, there should be something like a software loan or something like capital to support these women to be entrepreneurs. So for me, vet is for every gender, and the women need to take their place in these areas like construction, ICT, entrepreneurship, and the rest. So for me, I want the women of Bangladesh to understand that there's power in vet and there's power in acquiring skills, because when you possess these skills, you'll be able to contribute to the economic development of your family, and otherwise too, you can help your family to grow, support your kids educationally, because when you have a good background in vet, you know the right area to advise your wards on what to do. Vet is everywhere. And if you look at what you are putting on is vet. The phone we are using is vet. And so we need to embrace technical vocational education and training. It's not relegated to the people that don't have the privilege to go to school. Vet, for me, my mother used to encourage me to study, and she could be able to do that because she has a training. She was being empowered through education. And because she knows the value of education, I'm here today talking to a global audience. So I believe that majority of you here can still do so if you embrace VET. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Seramu, for your inspiration and the very pragmatic approach you shared. Robin, may I kindly ask you to share?
Certainly, Anita, and thank you for the question. First of all, good morning, salam alaikum. It's a pleasure for me and the ZER project to be here in Bangladesh. And to your question, Anita, what enables women's success? I think the simple answer and the open secret is ask and listen. Most of us have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and let's use them in that order. I think looking at the other men on the stage, we tend to have the tendency to perhaps talk more and listen less. And I think women know how and what success they want to get. They know the barriers that are in the way. We heard about Fatima from Cox's Bazar and her wish to have a 5-star hotel. She knows the success she wants to have. What she needs to find and how we can and need to support her is an ecosystem of people who can help her along the way, and also to design services and organization with everyone in mind. So design was mentioned before and is a really important axis. So design for all, using the essence of universal design when thinking about hardware, when thinking about software, when thinking about services. What does that entail? That means we're designing for men, we're designing for women, we're designing for the elderly population, and we're keeping persons with disabilities first and foremost in mind. And by that, we're able to support everyone. It's not we're just helping women, we're just helping men, or we're just helping persons with disabilities. Universal design encompasses all of that. And since we talked about hospitality earlier before, there are examples of what happens when you design for all. Not too far away from here in India, there's a cafe chain called Miti Cafe. Those are 12 cafes managed, staffed entirely by persons with disabilities. And the people don't visit Miti Cafe out of pity or because of charity or to make themselves feel better. They go there because of the hospitality, they go there because of the coffee, because of the tea, and they return because they want to return. It's a place where they feel welcome. So, first of all, designing for all. Second of all, we talked about not starting from a position of privilege. Having services which are free is essential, but also utilizing what is out there already. There are companies in Botswana which are developing hearing aids that are solar powered. The sun is free. There are organizations in Guinea called Fatima, which has trained over 110 women, which have led to 50 new businesses being founded. These are all women who live in extreme poverty, who are all subject to gender-based violence, and giving them a perspective and opportunity, low cost, in their community, offline, human to human. Again, designing something that works for everyone. So really, with universal design in mind. And you know, we heard a bunch of statistics earlier this morning, so I want to ask, who of you in the audience likes cricket or plays cricket? Anyone, any cricket? Okay, we have a couple there. So in cricket, you know, we have a bowler, right? a bowler would never play the position of a slip, correct? In cricket and in every sport, you have players who play the position because of their skills and expertise. And my encouragement to the audience here is to understand that women have unique skill sets and that we should really think of the economy and society as a whole as a team sport. And if we're playing with only half a team, how can we win the sport? If our labor participation rate is half of that of men, we're playing with half a cricket team. We're playing without a bowler, we're playing without a slip. So let's use every player, let's use every skill set, let's use every background. And if we do that, we can win the proverbial cricket game match, and we can win at being a community that encompasses everyone.
Thank you so much, Robin, for inviting everybody to enter the labor game, right? Thank you, dear. So now I come to a question I would like to hear from all of you kindly. And I would start with Urmila, please. And the question is the same for all of you. Can you share, please, an example from your country, whatever your country is, as a cosmopolitan person, yeah? Or any experience where women's skills created a real change for women, for business, and for society? Please let us know.
Yeah, thanks so much. Another great question, Anita. So rather than speaking from my country, it's Canada, my nationality, although I'm happy to share. But I'd just like to give, you know, in the rest of the meeting, we have workshop sessions in the afternoon. I'd really like to give more of a global perspective, because I feel that a lot of my journey has been shaped by my global experiences, as I mentioned earlier. And around the world, we see that the most powerful models of empowering young women through skills development are those, I think, that link training directly to livelihoods. I just wanted to add that point, that we see an outcome at the end of the day, and it brings dignity, choice, and a stronger sense of self. And in these examples, I wanted to, if there's time to, there was one on Nigeria and another in India, if that's all right. Although you would know much more about the context in Nigeria, but I was very inspired by that. But in both examples, I think it's the whole notion of confidence and self-efficacy is really important. That when young women gain these practical skills, as you were all mentioning, whether it be digital, vocational, entrepreneurial skills, they begin to believe in their own ability to succeed and have really big dreams. So they're not only dreaming, but living their future and changing their future. So in Nigeria, last November, we had a great collaboration with Sightsavers, young women with disabilities, and embarking on really a new frontier of programming. For the first time, these young women are being exposed to career and livelihood opportunities with a leading institute, the Yaba College of Technology in Lagos. And they've set up an all-girls tech hub where adolescent girls in the urban informal sector are integrating digital skills in their learning to earning journey. And they're really participating in male-dominated or male-oriented industries, such as mobile and web applications development. And I know there's lots of examples of this kind of programming in Bangladesh. And just very briefly, Anjali, another young 17-year-old woman I met recently in India. We have a global program, the Passport to Earning, where just in 3 years, over 5 million young people, 50% women, have completed courses in digital literacy, in market relevant skills, and financial literacy. So Anjali was having trouble entering this course initially from her father, because her father wondered about the value for her to have this kind of training, because she'll have to get married and help out in the house, a bit similar to the story of Fatima. So somehow she convinced her father to go into the training, and through that training, she was able to send money to their extended family in some of the remotest parts of India. Her father was so impressed that he supported her further training, and now she is actually embarking on a career in e-commerce. So she's not only dreaming, but now living her future. So despite whatever challenges these girls have faced in life, I've always been inspired by, they smile widely, they have light in their eyes as a result of just having simple access to this type of training, these skills, and also a network of female-led peers and mentors. So we see the crucial link that young women's experiences, their efforts lead to opportunity, and that really is what makes it so meaningful to participate in these skilling programs, because eventually they see this outcome of a brighter future. Thanks.
Wow, thank you so much, Omila, for this wonderful example and inspiration you are giving. May I continue with you, please, Robin? Please share.
The advantage of the Zero project is that we have a lot of examples. So unless we have a couple of weeks, I could go through all 1,200 from 120 countries. Bear with me. But I'll try to give a couple of examples here and there. And if you're interested further, either approach me or go to zeroproject.org, where all of these are cataloged in our database. I think there are many elements to truly sustainable career paths, to hire and retain women with disabilities, and a couple of examples, or one of the key, let's say, success factors definitely are internships. I think we'll talk about that in a variety of workshops today, and engaging with the private sector and underlining the inherent value in having women and women with disabilities in their labor force. A program that comes to mind is from the Trinity Centre for Persons with Intellectual Disabilities in Ireland, which have worked with global corporations, EY, Microsoft, all the way down, and the domino effect that that has created. First, hesitancy, then resilience, then slow understanding, and then the companies now, including EY, have commissioned and published internal playbooks which they have shared from Ireland all around the world with their offices on how to engage with neurodivergent talent, for example. So there's never a good time. You'll always hear excuses of why it cannot be done. Nevertheless, you should do it, because if you can do it in times of uncertainty, if you can do it in times where perhaps politically things are shifting, if you can prove that your approach works in those times, then think about how easy it will be when quote-unquote times get better. And another example in that sense, there's a political leadership school for women with and without disabilities in Ukraine called Liderka, which was started during the 2022 war. There could have been many factors and reasons for the women of Liderka to say, we're in an active war zone, we cannot continue the work we do. They did not only continue, but they grew their program. And I think to really take that sentiment that you will hear many excuses and reasons from other people, but persevere and start. And as I said, ask and listen. If in doubt, ask, engage with women at an early stage of your project. Don't finish the project and then maybe have one meeting and convene people around the table and say, so what does everyone think? Because if they were not part of the ideation process, they won't feel part of what you have put together. So really include them and involve them at the first stages. And as I said, many, many more examples I could give. Personally, I think hierarchies should also not be excuses, and I'll give a good example here. As some of you might know, Japan has similar gender dynamics and corporate dynamics as in other countries in the world. And the SoftBank Corporation was able to implement a short-term work alliance. And what is fantastic about this example is not only that it has a 60% versus 60% female participation rate versus 40% male participation rate, but they didn't stop and said, hey, we as a corporation did a good job, we don't want to share what we're doing. They encouraged other organizations and other corporations, 170 of them, to join as well. So now you have, in a society where 60 to 70 hours work weeks were the norm, the ability to work 10, 15, 20 hours according to one's skills, strengths, and interests. And as I mentioned, going back to cricket, everyone has a different skill set. So let's use people to their skill sets and interests and abilities and put them in that position and let them thrive in that position. And then as a team, as a society collectively, we can advance.
Thank you so much. Thank you a lot, Robin, for sharing this very encouraging example. So many examples you have and those you shared. Thank you. Serumu, may I ask you kindly?
Thank you so much. I want to share a little example of a friend. She was part of the panel for World Skills Africa. She started for being the first female professional mechanic in the Gambia. So after being a professional mechanic in the Gambia, everything opens for her because she was everywhere speaking to girls, empower girls with these automobile skills and the rest. And she's been celebrated everywhere. And the moment she picked up that profession, everyone was like telling her that it's a dirty profession, it's a profession for only male. Why would she be a mechanic at this time? And she said, I am doing this for passion. And with this, I know I will bring development to my family, economic development to my family. And she persisted, she continued with that profession. And today, she's the only female mechanic, professional mechanic in the Gambia, and she owns an automobile garage where she teach other girls on how to repair automobile. So what I'm trying to say in the essence that when you want to choose the profession, any profession you want to choose, you must have that passion. You must have that passion, and you must have this thought of going global, not just only in Bangladesh. You can be the first in construction. You can be the first in wedding. Like we have several programs, Women in Wedding, where wedding companies will recruit women, mostly single mothers. They train them on wedding. After the training, they place them on the job. So you can think outside the box. Look at Bangladesh. Try to identify areas of needs. If you'll be able to identify the areas of needs, it is possible for you to develop yourself and key into one of these areas of skills. And with that, your services can be needed all over the world. So think outside Bangladesh, think within, and see how you can use your skills to address global challenges. For me, I want more women in construction. I want more women in construction because if you go to the construction industry, you see majority of the workers, they are men. And there are different things women can do in that construction industry. Like where I'm working in the UK, my supervisor, she's a woman, and she was enlisted into the program through work study program. She's from Bulgaria. So she was introduced into the program. These industries, they understand that there are skill shortages in so areas, and they don't have more women in the field. What they do, they go to the communities, they try to recruit women that has interest in that area. So what they do, they train the women on the job, not that they will have to check for qualifications, entry qualification, and the rest. They make it open, just like open schooling, provided you can understand the language of instruction. Because you understand the language of instruction, it is easy to learn by doing, instead of following the normal bureaucracy of schooling and the rest. So they teach you by doing. You practice. It can take up to maybe 6 months because you learn particular skills. It could be just to operate a dumper, how to operate a dumper, how to drive a dumper, how to use a dumper. And to operate a dumper, you just need nothing less than 2 days. You can get the proficiency of operating a dumper truck. So there's need for the industries to collaborate with government and interested partners to empower these women, because the women alone cannot just wake up one morning that they want to do this, but they need people to support them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serumu, for sharing and for widening the horizon, isn't it? Thank you. Please, Anoj, may I ask you?
There are many examples. Allow me to share one remarkable success story of Susma. She grew up in a so-called scheduled caste community, I mean marginalized community with severe domestic violence and social stigma. Now, after struggling a lot, she somehow managed to participate in a training skill development program supported by Plan International Nepal. Now she is the role model for her community and the similar communities. So her success story tells us about how the empowerment of women through skill development breaks this cycle of poverty and violence, increase the financial economic stability of families, and shift societal attitude of caste and violence. So we can learn from that, and the full story is available in Plan International Nepal's website. So if you are interested, you can visit. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful example, Anoj. I would like to come to an end and summarize all the wonderful contributions you made. And I may refer to the opening speech of the chair of HERizon Fest. And I'm well aware what you said, and it was so touching that it is about enthusiasm and passion and interest. And here are the role models as exactly for this topic. Thank you all so much for having been part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anita, for your wonderful moderation of the program. Now I would like to request the acting head of the project, Dr. Michael Kloda, and the chair of today's program, Dr. Nazneen Kaushar Chaudhary, to hand over a token of appreciation to the moderator and the respected discussants. Honorable Chair, and Dr. Michael is now going to hand over the token of appreciation to Dr. Anuj Bhattarai. Mr. Sirimo is going to receive his token of appreciation from the chair and the acting head of Project Advantage. Next, Mr. Robin is going to receive his token of appreciation from the chair of today's event and the acting head of project, Dr. Michael. Honorable Chair, and Dr. Michael is going to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Urmila Sharkar now. And Ms. Anita Stogel, the moderator of today's event, is going to receive her token of appreciation. Thank you, Honorable Chair and Dr. Michael. I would like to request the discussants and the chair and the acting head of project to participate in a group photo session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Michael and Honorable Chair. And thank you, Anita, for facilitating the whole session. I would like to request the respected discussants to take their seats. সম্মানিত অতিথিবৃন্দ, আমাদের এই সেশনটির পরে আমাদের একটি ছোট লাঞ্চের আয়োজন করা হয়েছে। লাঞ্চের পরবর্তী সময়ে একটি গ্রুপ ওয়ার্কের রয়েছে। গ্রুপ আমাদের যে গ্রুপ ভিত্তিক আলোচনা রয়েছে গ্রুপ ভিত্তিক আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠানটি পরিচালনা করার বিষয়ে আমাদের মিস আনিতা তিনি প্রয়োজনীয় সহযোগিতা প্রদান করবেন। I would like to request Miss Anita right now to steer the program and call upon the group leaders of the next session and to steer the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I kindly ask the workshop moderators for the afternoon on stage to give a short explanation of what is going on where and what is